Hi there. This is a spur-of-the-moment video from me, but I wanted to use this opportunity. I was just in the middle of the night, just waltzing around my house because I couldn't sleep, and I was thinking about Blazblue because I've revisited Blazblue recently, and there's also the recent news of Dark War being cancelled, and I wanted to discuss some things about the series' future. Dark War will be terminated at the end of January next year. Which is a shame, but to be honest, not that surprising. Alright. And there's a few reasons going around for this. If you check Mori's Twitter, right, or like a translated version of the Twitter, basically the whole gist of it is that, from Mori anyway, is that the game was designed for the 2017 to 2019 Gacha market, which is very different from the market today, and it probably would have survived in that market. Because if you think about that market back then, the big killers were Blue, Fate, and it generally was much more up to snuff with that current level of quality within Gacha. But then obviously, I think the game was announced 2017 as well, but then obviously it went dead silent for like literally 4 years, and then it came back, and then they showed it off a bit, and then they released it, right? But that was in 2021, I think, or the end of 2020 at the very least. And the Gacha market had completely shifted by then. Azure Lane had taken off. Genshin Impact and Honkai were doing better than ever. Epic 7 was doing better than ever. Tons of stuff. Kudos for them for releasing it eventually and making it a game that people played. But overall, it's not that surprising that the game was cancelled at the end of the day. Though it is pretty sad that the game didn't even last a year, right? Even sadder that big boy Ragnar's on the main marketing, and he's not even in the game. All right. But another thing that got me thinking about this, and you know what, this is the main reason, and you might laugh at me at this, it was their most recent addition. A little character called White Justice. So any of you Blazblue Central Fiction buffs may remember at the end of the story, there's this big old teaser when Rachel's mourning Ragnar, even though she doesn't even know why. Don't ask, it's weird. A Hakuman shows up, but this Hakuman has red hair and talks like a woman, a lot like a woman called Tsubaki. And you can put two and two together and realize that Tsubaki had become the new Hakuman, but we didn't get to see her at all. She was just an implied design. Well, in the most recent event, they showed off White Justice, right? Who is the new Hakuman, essentially. I believe it's an alternate timeline version of Tsubaki who becomes Hakuman, right? And if you ask me, she looks friggin' cool. This image here is gorgeous and shit, you know, she's super sexy, you know, and, you know, she could probably crush your head in, and it's sick, and I love it. It was the first time where the Gacha game did something, and I was like, yo, maybe I should play Dark War. And it just happened to be when they canceled it, right? So now I don't want to play Dark War because it's going to be gone in 3 months, which is a shame, because the thing is that gets me about Dark War as a thing, as a project, is that it was, like, its main audience is me, big old Blazblue buff. Right, I played the shit out of these games when I was a kid. These games basically made me like fighting games for a good while, right? And I didn't play Dark War. I didn't bother. I wasn't interested, right? Not because I don't like gachas. I like gachas. I played Genshin when it came out for a solid 2 months before the grind killed me. I played Honkai a shit ton, right? I played a ton of. I played Princess Connect. I played a fuck ton of Blue. The gacha bit was not what killed me. It wasn't. Even necessarily like the low budget affair. I couldn't care less. What I was waiting for was stuff like this, because it was early days. They were just adding the old characters, right? The stuff I had already seen and played and looked at a million times over. They were adding, and it was cute that they were adding the spin-off stuff and all that, and you know, it's all this big hodgepodge of Blazblue media. But I didn't want old Blazblue media again. I wanted the new stuff. I wanted the next step, right? And this was the beginning of the next step, and now it's stopped. Now it's not even going to happen, right? Which I think is a massive punch to the gut for me. But I mainly want to discuss it because if you go on YouTube, right, like let's go on YouTube real quick. You know, you look up Blazblue Dark War Alternative, right? With the recent cancellation news, Kizu's fine, but then you look at fucking, where is he? There he is. There's the cunt, and he's all like, look at this shit. The end of the Blazblue franchise. Right, and I'm sure any fucking FGC fan who has a brain is not buying this, but I feel like it's worth discussion regardless, because if you look on Twitter and look within our small little fan base, everyone's like, well, what now? Because the gacha failed, There's not a fighting game in sight. Central Fiction has had no news about it. And the best news we've gotten is the updates to CF, implying potential rollback updates like like Plus R, which is very exciting, but we haven't gotten anything about that yet. And that probably will be the next bit of news we get, right? I wouldn't be surprised. But I just feel like I want to make this just to quell some fears, like, the death of the gacha game is not going to kill this series. If Acr gives a shit about this series, they'll keep it going, and it has enough style and flair and legacy to it to be a big thing like Guilty Gear Strive was, right? Do I think it will be as big as that game? Probably not, and I think that's more just tied to BlazBlue's aesthetic and direction. BlazBlue inherently is a much more like mid-2000s sort of like cheapo Saturday morning cartoon anime series than Guilty Gear ever will be, right? Guilty Gear is like stoked in hard 90s and 80s rock, right? Mixed with anime. You know, it's got a really sick aesthetic and people will gobble that shit up, right? BlazBlue's a harder sell, I think, for a lot of people. Not everyone. Clearly it's sold for some people, right? It's sold for people like me too. I really like this series. Biggest numbers we got were Central Fiction, I believe. Central Fiction had a very successful launch for that kind of game. It sold very well, and it did well, but it had the typical complaints of the era. Terrible online, single-player content. Okay, BlazBlue's always had better single-player content than most, but, like, fans didn't like the new story stuff, like the sort of, like, the new cinematic story they did, where they tried to make a cinematic visual novel, and it was just kind of crap. Yeah, right, stuff like that. But, to reiterate, the death of the gacha game, while a shame, especially since they you know, there was clearly some passion in it, and it wasn't a bad idea at all, by the way. I think in that 2017-2019 market, this game would have done pretty well. I think this game would have lived and probably gone on for years, right? And it would have been a cool thing for, like, if you're a BlazBlue fan, hop into the gacha game, see the new characters, right? But it just came out too late at the end of the day, and it died a short, you know, uneventful death. But it's not the end of all things. Right, and I think, and to me, White Justice represents this, because there's a lot of potential here for just this. I already fucking love this design. Give me a fighting game character of Tsubaki Hakume. She looks so cool, right? And like, if I like this design, imagine the other stuff they could do. Imagine like a new Ragnar. Imagine a new Naito. Imagine a new take on Terran. Imagine what they would do with that, right? I think there's still plenty of life left in this series. So that's why I'm not really afraid. This is disappointing. But if the developers care enough, they'll make a new one, right? If they put some money into it, like they do with Strive, you know, they make it look good. It's up to them how it plays, whether they want it to appeal to newbies. I don't think BlazBlue's really a series that you should design for new players. But like, if they're coming out, if like BlazBlue ever continues in some way and they keep up stuff like this series is gonna be fun. I want to quell the fears, I think, is the main thing. I want to quell the fears, because I am also a nervous fan who likes this series and wants to see it grow and continue. But that's mainly what this video is for, just sort of as like a kickback to shit like this, even though I don't have this guy's clout. When do I expect to see it come back? Not for a while. Not for a good while. Before that, we'll get a CF rollback, and that's if that happens, of course. I imagine it will, because I don't see that update news. It's too bizarre. You know, it's too weird that the game would get updated, right? So either they're playing around with it, seeing if they can do it, or they're actually doing it. But my main message at the end of the day is just like, if you're a fan and you care about the series, right, and you want to see it grow, don't be afraid. Don't be scared for its future. I don't think there is much reason to be afraid for its future. The spin-off gacha game didn't work. That's not that big a deal. That really is not that big a deal for BlazBlue. I've said it like 3 times now. If they care, and they do care, alright? It's so easy to be a cynic nowadays, but they care, they give a shit. They're making friggin' anime games. Do you think these games sell? You think they could make more numbers making a different franchise? They absolutely could, but they don't, because they like their anime stuff. They like their anime. They're gonna keep making it, right? It's what they do, it's what they're great at, and you know what? They're finally hitting a point where they're making their anime games sell. Strive and Dragon Ball sold like hotcakes. Dragon Ball sold like hotcakes because it was Dragon Ball, but Strive sold like hotcakes because they knew how to make it look amazing, right? They knew how to make people who don't play fighting games look at it and go, damn, I want to play that fighting game. You know, I want to try that shit. And if they can figure that out with fucking Guilty Gear, they can make it work with Blazblue. So if you're a fan, have patience. That's what I say. That's what I say. Don't listen to the bullshit. But I say for now, wait. relax, let the series come back on its own.